All right, let's take a look at some sample problems from IXL. And these are really quick, so I'm going to go through 5 because there's lots of little different situations you might find yourself in. But the procedure kind of stays the same no matter what, but there's like little details. So here's what to remember. If I want the X intercept, I plug in 0 for Y. Right? And then I'm looking for the X value. Let me make this a little neater. So if I want the X-intercept, I plug in 0 for Y. If I want the Y-intercept, then I plug in 0 for X. Okay, and IXL isn't looking for a point like this. They're not looking for that. They're just looking for a number. Okay, so let's take a look. So in this first problem, I want the Y-intercept. So I'm going to plug in 0 for X. So if I plug in 0 for this X right here, this becomes 3 times 0. And it just cancels, right? 3 times 0 becomes 0. So then I end up with Y equals 6. And I'm done. Y equals 6, right? Because this was just a +1, was a positive 1Y, which is the same as just Y. Y equals 6, done. Okay, now here in number 2, I'm asked for the X-intercept. So this time I'm going to plug in 0 for Y, right? So this becomes 12 times 0, which is 0. It cancels. So now I'm left with 7x equals 6. Now I want x by itself, so I'm going to divide by 7. Divide by 7, sorry. This becomes x equals, and you're just going to write it just like this, 6 over 7. Okay, now if it's a fraction that can be simplified, you simplify. Like let's say I got in 6 over 10 or something, right? Then that would have simplified to 3 over 5. But that's not what happened. It was 6 over 7, and it can't be simplified, so you just leave it. Okay, in this next one, I'm looking for the X-intercept, so that means I'm going to plug in 0 for Y. Okay, so then what ends up happening here is I have 10x equals 0. Well, when I divide by 10, that's 0 divided by 10, and x equals 0. My X-intercept is just 0. Okay, in this next one, I'm looking for the Y-intercept. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. Now look, careful here, because now what I have is negative y equals 1. Negative y equals 1. Well, that's the same as negative 1y equals 1. So I'm going to divide to get y by itself. I'm dividing by negative 1, and I get y equals, positive divided by negative is negative, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. So here the y-intercept is negative 1. Okay, and then last example, I'm looking for the x-intercept. I'm going to plug in 0 for y. This becomes 12 times 0, which is 0. And this is the same one as my number 2, so don't worry about it.